What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 568. I am your host, Steve V. This is our season 8 kickoff, celebrating 7 years of podcasting. Congratulations, everybody.
Yay.
I know. 7 years of podcasting, season 8, 568 episodes under our belt. And I am with, of course, the OG, Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm really good. How are you?
Really, really good. And of course, rounding out this beautiful equation on our season 8 kickoff is Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. So good to be with you fellas tonight.
Likewise.
Absolutely. And on this season 8 kickoff, first off, I mean, Jeremy, do you remember when we started 8 years ago? Oh, excuse me, 7 years ago?
Oh, yes. We have come a long way.
We really have. I mean, the format has even changed throughout the years, and it's just great to be here. Well, we have a special offer for you that we want you to take advantage of. It's on our Patreon page, and we want you to join our Patreon. And it's really simplified right now because there's 2 tiers. There's a virgin tier and a sub tier, and you get things like commercial free, which is a really biggie. If on the Virgin Tour, you get access to our Discord server where you can chit chat with us during the week. You'll get a personal shout out on the show, and really cool, you'll get a bonus topic each week, plus an extra episode at the end of the month. And if you like hearing us talk, you can hear more of us talk. And on our tier 2, our sub, as we're calling it, you get all the same things, but you'll get access to our monthly hangout where we'll do a video chat, and you'll get things like you can ask us to shout out, almost like Cameo, where you can have us shout out whatever you want out to whomever you want to. And all you got to do is go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. Tags. And if you do so between today, when this drops, May 22nd, through the end of Pride, June 30th, you'll get our special offer, which is going to be an exclusive live stream with Kodi and myself, where we're going to tell intimate stories. Maybe Jeremy will call in, but more importantly, Kodi is going to grace us with some new material, new songs that he's been working on.
Wow, I am. That's true. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to sing the single that I have out right now. And then, I'm working on new material. So, and a cover too. Let's do covers because, who doesn't love a good torch song?
Exactly. So if you want to get involved and get on this live stream, you can do it between May 22nd and June 30th. Just go to our Patreon page, grab a tier. You go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. More to come on that. Well, we've got to get into hot topics today, but there was a recent drag race quiz that we all took, and it says take our drag race quiz to reveal which iconic queen is your match. We all did it, and there was a lot of choices on there. First of all, Mr. Drag Race fan himself, Kodi, did you like the choices that we could be paired up with?
Oh yes, it was all winners, right? So how can you go wrong with a winner of Drag Race? Each one of them are iconic in their own different way. So I was happy.
Well, I took the quiz. I'll start off and we'll round robin it. Drum roll, please. I was voted as Bob the Drag Queen, which I was really excited, especially since he just got done with his tour with Madonna. So I said, no wonder. Right. And what did it say about Bob the Drag Queen? If you were paired up, you know how to work a room like no other queen can. Your infectious energy and charisma draw people in, making you one of the most popular queens. Regardless of your result, remember that there's only one you at the end of the day, so make sure to express your own unique flavor every chance you get. If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? And I love that for me, Bob the Drag Queen. Does that sound about right, Kodi?
Sounds about right to me. Bob is so much fun, and Bob has grown a lot as far as the looks are concerned, and he just has an infectious personality. So I'm loving that fit for you, babes.
I love it. And Jeremy, who were you paired up as? Who reveal it to us?
So mine was got Mick.
Ooh,
I love that. When you sent that to me last week, I was like, "Of course you got Mick." The sass alone with
perfect.
it. Did you remember what it said in there?
Yeah, so it says the queen of creativity. You love to experiment with different looks and styles. Your unique perspective makes you stand out from the crowd. Regardless of your result, remember that there's only one you at the end of the day, so make sure to express your own unique flavor every chance you get.
Okay, so like mine too, that part. Yes, I think Gottmik is a perfect match for you. And this
Yeah,
seems really accurate. I love that for you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, drum roll, please. Kodi Maurice, who were you? Reveal. Who did you match up with?
I got Simone, the lovely and talented and gorgeous Simone, and I was so
Oh,
excited.
I love me Simone.
Yes, right. And her bio goes, "You're all about living life to the fullest potential, confident in your own skin. You love to express your true self through fashion and art. Regardless of your result, remember that there's only one you at the end of the day. So make sure to express your own unique flavor every chance you get." I thought that was fantastic.
I love that we all got different queens and all of them seem to match our personalities. This is a really good quiz. I'll put this on Tags Podcast for you two to do it at home as well if you care to find out and reveal who you match up with. But that's so funny that you got Simone, Kodi, because I was just talking about her yesterday because there was a fan of Drag Race and she was all about it. And we were trying to remember Simone's name, and I said I met her, and she was like, "Oh my god, pull up the picture!" And I showed her, and she was just like gagging when I
Gag.
met her.
She's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
gag. Yes,
Oh,
she is
yeah.
gorgeous in person too. So good
Ooh.
picks for all. I love it. Okay, let's get into some hot topics. Well, X, or formerly known as Twitter, is now restricting accounts that use the term cisgender, and it's all because of Elon Musk's new platform ever since he bought it. Cisgender is an adjective used to refer to individuals whose gender identity corresponds with their sex assigned at birth. The term cis really just comes from the Latin prefix meaning on this side of, in contrast to things like, say, trans, right? And so I mean, in Canadian government uses these classifications on their census. American Psychological Association includes them in its glossary. It by no means is a derogatory word, but he's decided to make it an actual banned word because he thinks it's a slur. And that doesn't really add up, or I don't really understand why he's doing that, other than he's thinking that people are using it to differentiate and talk more about trans issues. So when they do, perhaps maybe they bring up cisgenders and it's being used maybe in negative lights as opposed to when people are promoting trans issues. And so, I mean, to be like banned, you get a warning first. And if you continue to post your message, you actually could get banned from the platform on a site that you could that's getting more Republican day after day, Jeremy, but where you can also find gay porn. What do you make of this latest? You could be banned by using cis.
I think it's ridiculous. And I mean, it's a classification, isn't it? So I just don't see like how you could be banned for using that, especially when it's on all of the apps that you use as well.
Exactly. And it's just, Cody, I mean, when you hear this, it's ridiculous too that he picks and chooses his battles, and it's a slippery slope too on how far he's going to go. I mean, what's next? I mean, and it kind of puts a lot of people in a conundrum. Myself, I have my OnlyFans content or preview just for fans previews on my Twitter account. And it's really the one area that you can promote
Hmm.
your adult content. But when you see things like this, does it put people in a conundrum like, my goodness, like, I don't know if to stay on the platform or not?
Oh yeah, I have been thinking about leaving X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, on this Friday. Uh, it is something that has really become a cesspool of hate and negative comments, especially since Elon took over. And you said his name and X, and I was just like, oh God, what now? And he's not a dummy. He is an opportunist, and he's taking this time to actually be divisive with this word because he knows that it's such a controversial word as far as people out there who don't understand where the root of the word comes from. They just take it as a negative thing. And it's really the dumbing down of America, honestly. They're going to the lowest common denominator to stir up trouble. And in this time where we're just ramping up for a presidential race, they're using it to divide people. So I think that it's really ridiculous, and I hope that people see right through this, but I don't think so, because this word, I hear the discourse over this word, and I think that people really don't understand. They just want something to be mad at. It's really upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, all it means is who you were assigned with at birth that you
Exactly.
still identify as. We've made so many wars against gender. And, well, one state, our state here, or at least this state that I'm in right now, New York, just added something that's kind of cool where almost 5,000 New Yorkers have now put the X as a gender marker on their IDs. And it's nearly 2 years after New York passed a law allowing residents to use a neutral X gender marker on their state issued ID. Like I said, 5,000 people have already used this, and the policy permits New Yorkers to change the gender marker from male or female to X. And those applying for a photo ID for the first time have the option to select X from the start. And those who are unable to visit a DMV, and you can actually do it online. So this, I think, is a really nice thing to be able to do. I mean, I just had guest Reverend Kyle Applegate on the show, and we were talking about gender and how you identify, and maybe what age is appropriate to let a child decide when they are transitioning. And he had to jump through so many hoops. But when 23 years ago, when he changed, he had to go to therapy, he had to get legal documents. I would really be curious to think what he would think about this now. I do think
Mhm.
it's for a safety thing. It's kind of a nice thing to have on there. Jeremy, what do you think of this new X, a better version of X than what we were just talking about?
Better as in how, though? I mean, I think that, I mean, I only use it for watching porn, to be honest.
Oh, well, now
So,
I'm talking about the ID where you can actually put your X instead of male or female in New York. What do you think of that idea?
I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think it's like revolutionary, but I mean, it's good.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I'm
What do
like
you?
in the middle of it. Like I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I feel like it's still not like that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I agree is because it does recall of what I was talking to with Kyle Applegate, in that he, like I said, he had to go through so many hoops and to really determine that he was switching genders. It was not made easy for him at all. And now
Hmm.
times have changed, and it's great if you could just check a new box on your ID. But what do you think about this, Kodi?
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. And I mean, I see what Jeremy is saying. I'm kind of ambivalent about it as well, but I think it's all because that we're all cisgender men. Uh, and I might be upsetting the people on X by saying that, but we are all cisgender men. So I think that we are probably a little bit removed from it. But the people that it's going to benefit, it's going to help them out a lot. So I'm all for it. So I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I'm sure they've had to, usually when you show your ID, it's at like a bar, for example, to get in.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure if they're really looking at that. They're looking at to see if you're of age, but will people really look at that when they're looking at your ID? And then it begs the question, what then do you address that person as? They, I guess? Or
I could
would
tell
you?
you from checking IDs that nobody's looking at the gender on the ID. I look at the the date of birth, and I do the quick math in my head. I don't even really.
Right, and they keep it moving. Usually it's
Exactly.
after like the certain year or month or whatever, and then you just keep going to the next person.
Right. So it'll be good for like online things that you fill out, I think, to be gendered appropriately as you would like to be versus having to choose between, the two that we've had for so
Yeah.
long. So okay, moving on. We talk a lot about PrEP. Well, now there's a potential new once a week PrEP pill that could be on the way. And it appears a race is now on to get such a pill to the market, said the CDC, when they announced encouraging results from studies of a new once a week PrEP tablet. And it contains the same things, only it's going to be more on the Descovy side of it. And where PrEP right now, daily PrEP, is 99% effective. Studies on monkeys by the CDC that they tested show a 94% effectiveness. And while that I think is good, I'm not sure. I would want to wait to see if they can get it up to close to the 99%. The other thing that I was thinking about too is that one of the reasons that you would take this is because a lot of people, they say, we want to give more people options, and then they want, if for those that would forget. But for me personally, I think I take daily vitamins, and so I have it down to a science that time for vitamin moment, and that's just in the regimen, my PrEP. I think that a weekly one I would almost forget more, and that's just me, just because unless I calendared it and I would have to put a reminder, like, almost hitting me on the head to remember, I don't know that I might forget that once a week, and then I would really be not having any percentage, I think. What do you think of this, Jeremy? Is it good that we have more options on the way, or would you take this once a week pill?
I mean, I think it's easier, like you said, to have it be daily and just be part of something that you do, or the injectable option if you feel like
Right.
you're forgetful. But I don't know if it really is necessarily better to have the option for weekly, because I do feel like you said it may be easier because it's con- less amount of days to take it, that you could easily forget it and then not have that dose. And it also makes me wonder then how you're missing out, or like what your coverage is if you miss out on skipping 1 week versus 1 day
Good
of.
point.
That's a good point.
Good points, because I've asked before, let's just say you miss one day of PrEP. They say from 99%, it would become 98%,
Mhm.
and so on down the percentages. And, if you're only at 94% effectiveness for once a week, you skip that 1 week. My goodness, what are we at now?
Right.
And the stress that you would have, too, I think could be not a good thing. Kodi, what do you think of this once a week possible new introduction of PrEP?
Yeah, I'm with you guys totally. I forget where I am most days, so I know I would definitely forget to take this pill once a week. I can't. Like you, Steve, I definitely have it down to a science. I have a regimen. I do it every day, so I like that the daily schedule that I am on in order for me to be able to be sure that I do it. I like have timers set. I have all the things. So I think that this once a week, it might be a little bit touch and go, or a little bit dangerous for people. Um, Jeremy brought up a good point. The injectable thing where you have to actually go to the doctor to actually get things injected, that might be a good alternative as well. But I can't see myself wanting to do a once a week pill.
Yeah, I want to do more research on the injectable one too, because my doctor certainly never brought it up. And I just wonder if all insurance companies will be covering the injectable version, and or how much more out of pocket you would be. I was talking to a listener actually last night at the New York Eagle, and we were talking about PrEP, and we were talking about one of our recent topics about PrEP shaming, the idea of that it doesn't seem so much in the big city, but there's still studies that show that people are slut shaming those that are on PrEP, and we need to fight that stigma. But he brought up a good point that said, in terms of PrEP, still needs to be long-term studies, and we haven't had enough time to see long-term studies, if any, that could
Mm.
be potentially detrimental. And I said, that's a good point. I do know initially it was always thought to be when you felt a time and place that you were going to be more sexually active, like a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us have just made it part of our lifestyle. I put myself, when I say that, as a regimen. And the other benefit that they're saying with this, or at least that they're studying with this weekly, is that it could be potentially less harmful on your kidneys because it's
Mm.
working with Discovery, which could be good. Now, I know most of us get tested. You have to get tested to get your new prescription every 3 months, and things that they check are your kidneys and your liver function. And I asked my doctor once if there was ever anything ever out, what would you do? And he said, well, we would just take you off of it, and then usually your levels go back to normal. So, lots to consider, some things to think about, and I do think it's good that they're doing more studies and that we do have more options. I'll currently stick with this plan, but things to think about, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, hello, your buddy Steve V here. I mean, Pride season is upon us, and the boys are out, often scantily clad. And I got to tell you, this is definitely my time of year. If you're like me and you want to have more sex, but good sex, right? I mean, we talk so much about our fetishes on the show, and lately I've been expanding my repertoire in the sack. Listen to the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. I assume you want to have more and better sex like I do, right? You also want to be ready to go. Who's got time to waste? The issue is that over-the-counter erection pills contain unregulated chemicals, suggest unsafe doses, and include the risk of several other health problems. And that's why we partnered with our friends over at Joy Mode. Whether you're looking to spice up your intimate moments or increase your confidence in the bedroom, Joy Mode makes all natural and science-backed supplements dedicated to helping men perform better across their core functions. While their trademark product, the Sexual Performance Booster, is every man's solution for increased blood flow, firmness, stamina, and performance. It's like a pre-workout, but for sex. All ingredients have been assessed in peer-reviewed journals. All ingredients have been studied and researched in humans. And it comes in this little sachet that you carry with you. It's a palm-sized packet like your favorite electrolyte powder. And all you got to do is mix it with 6 to 8 ounces of water 45 minutes before sexual activity and watch the magic unfold. Literally. For me, it makes me totally comfortable knowing that Joy Mode is a safe product for the bedroom, the gym, and actually for my health. And I'm talking about heart health and blood pressure. So here's the thing, redefine your intimacy and go to usejoymode.com for 20% off with code TAGS, TAGS. That's 20% off and free shipping with code TAGS, TAGS at usejoymode.com. Ingredients with integrity. Joy Mode. Okay, well, let's move into some more topics. And this one caught my attention when a dad thought his son's Speedo was too skimpy for a family cruise, and he wanted to ask the internet for advice. Wearing a Speedo on a family cruise was apparently a step too far when a dad asked whether he overstepped his bounds, demanding his 18-year-old son to cover up. He goes on to mention that Jax is a great kid who suffers from too much confidence, laughing out loud. Um, the poster adds that Jax is great looking, athletic, and something of an exhibitionist, just to further set the scene. And he said, we arrived on the ship and set sail, and Jax got ready to head to one of the pools for the first time. Let's just say his swimsuit was not appropriate at all. Definitely a flaunted type of suit. And the distraught dad wrote, I told him to put on something else. He had nothing. The kid has packed nothing but those for a week-long cruise. Well, I thought this was hilarious. And of course, he got all kinds of people saying from every spectrum, let your kid do what they want. Look at the Olympics coming up. You're going to see tons of those in diving and swimming, and it's going to be on national TV. I might have a different opinion than you both think, in that I do love a good Speedo moment when I'm at the gay beach. I love a nude beach. I love my birthday suit when I'm at the naked beach. But I'm kind of a time and a place type of a person. In other words, I really don't I mix my worlds, and I'm gay. We go up to my pool in Puerto Vallarta where it is not in the gay area, and it's Puerto Vallarta is very liberal in general, but our building has straight people. Sometimes there's families up on the rooftop. I do not wear my Speedos there unless I'm shooting a promo for Tags Live for a hot second. Cody can vouch for that.
Oh yeah.
But I don't wear my Speedo because I just think they don't want to see that. Jeremy, I know you're not a Speedo lover yourself, but what do you think of this dad, and what would you say to him?
I totally agree. I think there's a time and a place for it, and that's not everywhere. And I think that no matter how confident you are, you can easily put on board shorts when you're at a family vacation or on a cruise or just around like kids and families and stuff. And I mean, the other thing is when you go to Europe, it's common there. So, like, most people wear Speedos rather than wearing board shorts. But like I said, I think that there's a time and a place. And I think that you can read the area and scope that out and then decide for yourself. But I mean, I also think that sometimes when people wear Speedos in a setting that is not normally where it's worn, I think that they're asking for the attention. That's just my own opinion.
I agree with you 100%. And it sounds almost weird, almost prudish of us. But I mean, it's weird because
It
I feel,
definitely does. I mean, I'm not jealous or mad at someone that does that. I'm just saying I think that as a person that chooses to do it in that setting, you know what you're doing.
yeah. I mean, Cody, I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
So number one, this kid must have thought he was on the Atlantis cruise, and that's why he brought on those speedos.
Wrong crew. The Vakaya
Right,
is what you meant
girl?
to say.
Yes,
Or the
exactly.
Vakaya, honey.
Vakaya.
Because
Yes.
yes. And number two, I want his confidence. I think that it's great that he has this level of confidence, but I agree with you guys. There's definitely a time and a place for everything, and you have to know when it's appropriate, quote unquote, to wear your Speedo out next near the pool or what have you. And I think that, I asked my mom about this. We had a discussion. I said, would you be offended or upset if I wore my Speedo out at a family gathering? And she was like, she thought about it for a second. And then she said, well, no, because I support you and I love you. But then she said, but would you really want to wear your Speedo in front of the
Ooh,
family?
thank you.
And the
Good.
answer
I
is
love your
no, I
mom.
don't. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm kind of the same way with you on that one too. I don't think I would want to.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want them
Yeah.
to see all that. I don't want to see that, and I don't want them to see all that. I do wear the shortest board shorts possible. Like, I think I have a 5 inch, but other than that, I'm not wearing my Speedo around my family.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing right now. There's some great shorts that are not board shorts that they've come out with in recent years that are pretty short, and but they're really cute, and they hide the junk so you're not
Hmm.
flashing that bulge to everybody. And I
Grandma.
think they're really, yeah, I think they're really cute. And so I just think that, yeah, that would not be the thing I would wear on a family vacation. It would just, yeah, I don't want to see that for sure. Okay, moving on to something, because we are checking out people more. There was a recent story about here's what gays had to say, what they notice first when they check out a guy. So picture this. You're walking down the street and you see a fellow coming your way. Where do your eyes go first? And what do you listen for when you hear him talk? Well, the gays had a lot to say on this on a recent thread online. Just to give you a little bit more background, psychological science came out in 2006, where Princeton psychologists Janine Willis and Alexander Todoro reported that it takes a tenth of a second to form an impression of a stranger from their face. In fact, attractiveness and trustworthiness were the traits that Willis and the other person studied participants assessed the fastest. So when you're walking down the street, Jeremy, what do you notice first from a guy? What do you check out first?
I mean, if you see behind them, it's always the ass for me, but I would definitely check out their face too.
Yeah. Are you an eyes person or
I think I'm mostly eyes and smile. So I think like for me, good teeth is like a major turn on, and just like a good sense of personality in their smile, and like just that in general, and then eyes would come after that.
Yeah, that's I think a lot of people's too, mine as well. It's interesting that they put walking down the street. I'm very specific to the location. So in the gym, walking around, I am new to working out in a commercial gym. In other words, I used to work exclusively just in my building's gym. So now I'm around relatively on 19th Street Crunch here, and it's a lot of gay guys that are walking around, and not everyone's really friendly though, so which is fine. Everyone's in their own mode of workout. But one of the things that I notice I look at more is people's asses because everyone's got like tighter shorts on and asses and booties are out. And so I tend to look at that first in that setting. If I'm at the New York Eagle, I was going in a dark area on the second floor yesterday. And what did I look at first? The huge dick that a guy was flashing that was erect and hard. And it almost summoned me over to him. Instead of shaking his hand, I shaked his dick. And he was only too happy for me to do that. In which I looked up
Yes.
and saw his smiling face. um, but when I just see somebody, the guy that been spending time with, we'll just say that here in New York, I think it was his demeanor when he was just standing there, and he just had a really pleasant, welcoming demeanor that I noticed first, and that just pulled me in. And you know, months later, we're still enjoying that demeanor. But Kodi, what do you notice first? If start with walking down the street.
Well, 9 times out of 10, if I think somebody is attractive, the first thing that I look at is their butt. Like, it's
Okay.
just it's I can't help it. It's when I'm, like, walking down the street or in the gym like you guys, and I'm like, "Oh, that guy's hot." I always looking at his ass. But I am also a chest man, so I like muscles, and I like, but, like, I like thick muscles, I like thin muscles, I like all the muscles. As long as you got muscles, we good to go. So I like a nice chest area, and then third would be the face, probably. I isn't that weird that
Wow.
that it's
Yeah.
all the way down there on the totem pole that it's like almost the last thing that I look at their face, but you have to be attractive as well. So not necessarily drop dead gorgeous, but attractive to me.
All good things. I love it. Let's stay on what we check out, and let's go to the beaches. And a recent query came out: are gay beaches only for gay people? And if you remember, we've talked about gay bars, and a lot of gay bars, a lot of their straight counterparts are infiltrating many of our gay bars. And we've discussed this on this show before, whether we thought, does it matter if our straight counterparts inhabit our gay spaces? And when planning to enjoy a day on the beach this summer, it's important to keep the fact in mind that, you're going to see a lot of different types of people on your beaches. Well, this question came out: does that mean that gay beaches should be off limits to heteros, with discarded Speedos serving as the proverbial line? Speaking of Speedos, the only line in the sand. And a straight man recently posted on a Reddit. He says he and his wife are nudists and love taking their clothes off at the beach. And they were recently honeymooning on a small island where there was only one dedicated nude spot. Guess what? It was a gay beach. And they felt it was fine to go there. They got a lot of they said we were wrong to hang out at the only gay beach, despite the fact that it was also the only nude beach. He asked, should we have sucked it up and gone to one of the others and just worn our bathing suits? Interesting question. I don't think I would have a problem with it. The naked beach in New Jersey that we go to, Kodi, what's the name of it again?
Sandy Hook, is that it?
Thank you so much. Yes. When we go there, there is a nude beach from this point on. In fact, the whole beach is nude. It's not that big of a beach. And when you start, past the sign, beyond this point, if you will, it's all straights, of course, that line the first parts of the beach. And as you make your way towards the middle and end of the very small beach, it turns gayer and gayer. But I often take a walk, again, it's not that long of a stretch, and make my way over to the straights. And it's kind of cool how we intermingle, but there is a soft divide between the two groups. I don't mind seeing boobs and whatever and all of that. It doesn't really bother me. Jeremy, do you care if straights come to the gay beach?
No, definitely not. I don't find any issue with that. I just think I do wonder if it would attract gay men to the straight couple, and then like that would make me interested to know, like, does that make them feel uncomfortable, or did they choose that on purpose? You know what I mean? Like the
Right.
dynamic of like them being comfortable with gay men looking at both of them when they're in that setting.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't think we would care as much as maybe we might be self-conscious, if you will,
Right.
a little bit more about
Yeah.
that. And I don't know, Cody, does it bother you? I know you've gone to other beaches, say in Queens, with your
Mhm.
group of mixed friends. And what do you think of this? Of do we own the gay beaches only to ourselves?
I don't think so. I think when it's that public of a space, you can't say that you are the sole type of person that's going to be there. Like you said, I brought my girlfriends to the gay beach constantly. And I think that that is probably the only caveat, is that you be an ally at least to the gay community, because if you're coming to the gay beach and you know that it's the gay beach, you know that you're going to see gay people, so you might as well not be ogling them or offended by them. So I think that when, as far as the beach is concerned, it's not like a club. It's not something that is
Right.
enclosed, and it's more of a public area. So no, I don't think so. And I think it's also I've seen kids at the beach too. So I think that it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. I just think it's, again, clubs are different than an open beach, right? A public beach. And I'm not sure if we've just made certain beaches the gay beach just because we've inhabited it, but it's not like somebody bought a gay owner bought this land of beach and deemed it gays, and they're not checking IDs at the entrance to the beach. And so if you want to come, feel free. You're going to see a lot of speedos, and and that the guy that we were talking about can flaunt it all he wants, and it will be welcome. So just know what you're getting into. You're going to hear a lot of fun music. I can guarantee that. So yeah. Okay, Cody brought this up to me, and it was ask gay bros when a boyfriend asked me to leave after
Oh
sex,
yeah.
and he wanted advice. This person wrote, "I'm 22. He is 33. He is the most kind and mature and loving man I've ever been with. He treats me wonderfully, and we both are extremely compatible so far. We've been together for a month. We both have agreed that sex is incredibly sacred and that we wanted to wait longer, but the other day it just sort of happened naturally in his room. It was good sex. He says it's the best sex he's had in a year. Anyway, about 10 minutes after they banged, the guy says he says very gently to me that he has plans with friends and asked if I minded if I left. The guy that wrote this lives 2 hours away, and he was already planning on staying a few nights because he had a concert to see in the city the next day. So I don't know, this is kind of cringy, I think, of the guy asking
Okay.
him. They made such a big deal about sex. They had it, it was amazing, and really you're just gonna leave like that? I want to
Can
hear
I
from you.
put
Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
interject one thing really quick? So,
Please.
a little bit of context, because I read down further in the comments and he explains that he's moving away from the city that he lives in. So, he wanted to see his friends before he left. So, I don't know if that provides like a little bit different type of, ideas on what's going
Okay.
on. But yeah,
That
now,
does actually. It does a little bit because sometimes I think people go into things for convenience and instead of for like somebody's moving and so or they're going to be kicked out of their place, and so they need a place to live, so they move in with their partner. And it's like, yeah, but were you going to move in anyway, or is it because you needed a place to live? And so
Oh
I
wait,
don't
it
know.
was the guy that did the kicking out. He wanted to go see his friends because he was moving away, not the guy that had to leave.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of a shitty thing to do just in general.
Mm.
Is I think. I mean, I don't know, Cody. You keep on telling us how you feel.
Yeah, I think that it's really messed up to make somebody leave, especially after you said 10 minutes. That is way too short of a time to say, okay, well, I gotta go now. Thank you for the nut. You gotta go hit the bricks, kid. Especially since he was supposed to stay for an extra 2 days afterwards. So I think that what I would have done personally is I would have said to this person that I had been dating and I had just had sex with, that you can stay, but I'm gonna go see my friends. I don't know if they were mutual friends or maybe there was a reason he couldn't bring him, but I don't know. I think if I was in that position, I would say, you can stay. I'll be back in like 2 hours or what have you, and then we'll come back and we'll have more of a good time. But kicking him out, make him drive 2 hours, that's beyond for me a red flag.
The other thing, it sounds like maybe they've moved this on a little too quickly too, because they've only been dating for a month and they've kind of put this huge thing on a pedestal. Maybe he doesn't know the guy that well yet. And I don't know, Jeremy, what are your thoughts and advice? Was this a douchey thing to do, or you
I
know?
mean, if it was me, I'd definitely be pissed. And I think that when you're getting to know someone, I still think that like it couldn't hurt to just tell him, like Cody said, you can spend the night and I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. And I don't know, just like it sounds like a little bit of poor planning at the same time. It sounds like they could have been on the same page but weren't. But I would definitely not be okay with just being booted out and like exchanged for plans with other friends, whether you're moving or not. I just think that that's something that you could have talked about so that it was clear. And I don't find it to be a big deal if you just let him stay, if for whatever reason you can't bring him with you. So for me, I think it's like the technical stuff would piss me off a little bit, but I mean, they are early on. It's just, it sounds like I don't know if their communication's that great from the start.
Yeah, it also sounds like, I mean, why couldn't you invite him to this thing? If you determine that you're now a couple, then he should get an invitation to whatever the person they were going to do, unless there was like maybe tickets involved or something, right? And
Right.
That could be a
you
thing.
know, if it was something specific like that, perhaps. But if not, the minute you start becoming a couple, boyfriends, it's like they should get an invite. Whether they can come or not, or want to come or not, is a different matter. But yeah,
Well, I think
douchey.
it also makes it like it makes it impersonal by him sleeping with the guy for the first time, and it makes it like not so special that you like 10 minutes later are like, okay, you have to go. And it sounds a lot
Right.
more like a hookup that you'd just be like
Thank
someone that
you.
you don't know, that you'd just be like, okay, now I'm gonna go do laundry, or like I have dinner plans or something. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, hookup definitely. You're like,
Get
okay, that
out.
was fun. Get out, and absolutely.
It
I
sounds
mean,
like that more than it sounds like he actually like cares about the guy
Yep.
and communicated his feelings.
yeah, um, that's
At the end of the
crazy.
day, if you can come in me, I should be able to come with you. Okay.
Okay, well stated. And lastly, I put the link in our Zencaster for you to look at, because Sniffies just announced a new clothing line. Sniffies, it's not an app; it's a site where you can go and cruise, guys, in your area. You can even cruise in various areas. We've talked a lot about. We've had a representative from Sniffies on our show talking about when it had just launched. Well, they just announced the new clothing line, and it is. They've got things that they announced the Cruising Club summer clothing collection earlier this week, and they're paying homage to 90s and early 2000s sportswears in their current latest collection, tailored exclusively for Sniffies cruisers. And the statement from the brand said in a release, a sexy photo shoot accompanied the drop of the cruiser jersey, cropped muscle tee, mesh cruising shorts, and even some plaid boxers. The release note also notes that the collection marks the brand's evolution into a signature fashion and lifestyle brand, and says additional drops and collabs are scheduled for this summer and fall. You had a chance to kind of look it over. We'll start with our fashion expert, Jeremy. What do you think of Sniffies putting out a line, and what do you think of this line?
I think it's horrible, and I hate all of it. I
Don't hold
I
back, though, please.
I don't like any of the styling, and I don't really grab 90s from any of this inspo. I also think for gay men, the shorts are too long, and the colors of the cargo pants are ugly. And I think all of it looks like something that you could buy at a thrift store, and it does not need to say Sniffies on it. If I'm looking for sexy clothes, I would buy from Nasty Pig, and I think that they grasp the market better when it comes to wearing something sexy, but also just being gay in general. I don't know. This line just does not do it for me, and I don't really like any of the pieces.
It's funny because when I heard that Sniffies, when I first saw the headline, I was really excited because I'm a fan of Sniffies and I thought this is really cool. Their brand keeps growing and I was super excited to see it. Sadly, like yourself, when I went through the whole collection, it was almost like a bad Abercrombie and Fitch, if you
It's
will.
like it's underwhelming, and I think that
Yeah.
also the underwear's underwhelming, the shorts are too long, like I said, the crop tops are really long, so they're not even really that cropped, and I don't know, just the color scheme and everything is just it's very like broy and not like gay sexy at all to
It's
me.
Mm.
so Kodi, I want to hear from you, but it's interesting that he says it's very broy in many ways because Sniffies really is all about that old school, a newer version of cruising, if you will, when
Yeah.
maybe the person you were cruising in the stall next to you at the train station could be a married man. Maybe he was a construction worker that had this other predilection to want to like sleep with men in cruising situations. So what do you think of this line, and does it work for you?
Yeah, I can see what you got. So originally, I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy for them that they have this new line," and I'm sure you both are very happy for them. But then, as you guys were speaking, and I thought about what would I actually buy any of this stuff, and the answer is no. I wouldn't. Like
Yeah.
Jeremy said, the crop tops are too long. So I immediately was like, "Oh, I wonder. I'll get a. I love a crop top
Well, you're
moment,
a
honey.
crop topper. If it doesn't
I'm
mean
a
the
crop
Kodi
top
crop top,
girly."
And
yeah,
yours is half the length of that.
Exactly.
yeah. I actually
Exactly.
liked it because it wasn't so croppy, and I was like, well, that would be the one piece, if any of them, I would get.
I would get the boxers, honestly, and that's probably the only thing that I would buy
But I
from
feel like
this.
even the cobalt blue and the black, it's like motorcycle-y, but
Yeah.
not anything. I don't know. It's just not super sexy.
Yeah.
And are you really wearing those, Kodi, those types of boxers, those old school
No.
straight boxers? I can't
To
see you in them.
to walk around in the house and I would get a small because they're definitely too big. I and because I want my butt to pop.
I
And
would
that's
really love to see the price point too.
ooh, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
I mean, I can imagine. Kodi, can you do a quick search while we're
Oh
just
yeah. I got you.
hammer this out? I just think it's not flattering in many ways, and they kind of missed the mark. And I have a feeling that it's probably expensive for all this stuff too. And hopefully their next round of designs will be a little bit better because
Oh my gosh, the freaking jersey is
oh
$140.
Oh
And
the
no.
that
basketball
and that
jersey.
freaking muscle crop top that's in heather gray is $52. And the boxers are $40.
Oh, see, when you could actually get cuter
For
stuff, probably a
boxers?
little cheaper
So
at
this is a
Nasty
hell
Pig.
no.
I know, right? That's
Well, the
ridiculous.
other thing is that Nasty Pig has great quality. Like honestly, I've owned things from them and they last for a long time and you can wash them and rewear them, but they also have a designer that
Thank you.
Makes cool fetishy, but sports geary, like contemporary clothing.
Right, with really good design back
Yeah.
behind it. This is what happens when a brand that is not in that market tries to launch something like this. I mean, if they just did a few fun tees and got like at this point in the game, you could get a really cool designer to do some cool tees for you and put them on your merch site instead of a whole line that misses the mark. So yeah, that's a no. Okay, well, this has been so much fun, and thank you so much on our season 8 kickoff, celebrating 7 years of podcasting. Don't forget, take advantage of our special offer between now and June 30th, the end of Pride, when you can get access when you pick up a tier on our Patreon page to our upcoming July live stream featuring the music of Kodi Maurice and intimate conversations. It's going to be a fun night. You don't want to miss it. To do so, grab a tier. There's only 2 worth checking out. Go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. Follow my co-host on Instagram. Follow Jeremy at JRossLopez at JRossLopez. Follow Kodi. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching, and his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Follow me. I am _Steve V. Go to my Twitter account, TAGSPodcast. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex.
Sex.
Yay.